Hello everyone, welcome you all for the lecture session on the subject of design of machine elements 1. So in the previous session we began with the numerical problems on a simple fatigue loading conditions onto the machine member. In today's session again we will continue with simple problems on the fatigue loading conditions. So moving on for the next problem, let us see the statement of the problem. The statement goes like this. Problem number 2 is a cantilever beam made of cold drawn carbon steel. Here we are supposed to note down the type of the material they have specified. It is an cold drawn carbon steel and they have specified the properties of the material, where the ultimate strength of the carbon steel material they have given is of 550 megapascal. The yield strength they have given it as 470 megapascal and the endurance limit they have given it as 275 megapascal. So for the type of material they have given, that is cold drawn carbon steel, they only specified the properties that are the sigma u, sigma y and sigma endurance. Next, it is of a circular cross section. The member they have given is of a circular cross section and it is subjected to a load which varies from minus F to 3F. Here we can clearly observe the type of loading they are giving is minus F to 3F. So the load is dynamic in nature, or the load is fatigue. The load is varying from minus F to plus 3F. Determine the maximum load that the member can withstand for the infinite life using a factor of safety of 2. So we are supposed to determine what amount of load the member will be taking up and it has to run for an infinite life. So let us see the sketch they have given. Here they have given a stepped bar. Basically they have only mentioned it as a circular cross section having a capital D of 20 millimeter, and the step down diameter small d is of 13 millimeter. So in the problem we have a stepped bar, we have a stepped circular shaft where the diameter 20 has been stepped down to 30 with a radius of fillet of R, and it is subjected for the load which varies from minus F to 3F. What type of load is this? Is this an axial load? No, it is not an axial load because the load is not acting along the axis of the member. How the load is acting? The load is acting perpendicular to the axis of the member, or it is a transverse load where the load is varying from minus F to plus 3F. Basically, the type of loading that is acting on the given machine member is of bending load. It is of bending load in nature. So the type of load which is acting on the given member is a bending load, where the minimum load is minus F and the maximum load that is acting is plus 3F. Now let us try to list down the data that is given in the problem and then let us begin what is to calculate the value of F. So solution. A cantilever beam is made up of a cold drawn carbon steel. So they have given the material. Material is of cold drawn carbon steel. For this material they have specified the properties which are sigma u is equals to 550 megapascal and sigma y equals 470 megapascal. Similarly, endurance strength. So sigma En is equals to 275 megapascal. Next, and the load varies from minus F to 3F, and they have also specified the factor of safety for the given material that has to be considered. So the FOS or N is equals to 2. So we know that the type of the load that is acting is a bending load. So what is the bending load causes for? the bending load causes for the bending stress. We are supposed to determine the moment that is acting. Where we are supposed to consider the moment? Let us see. If you see the sketch clearly, there is a filleted region or the region that causes for the stress concentration to develop. Or we can also state that the failure of this particular member is likely to occur in the filleted region, itself. So, we are supposed to consider the moment across this filleted region, itself. Now, in order to calculate the minimum and the maximum bending moment across the filleted region, considering, let us write down that, considering failure likely to happen across the fillet, we can note down the minimum and the maximum bending moment across that filleted region. So, the first I will take up the minimum bending moment. So, the minimum bending moment across fillet, that is bending moment is M. So, M minimum is equals to the force into its perpendicular distance will give us the value of the bending moment. What is the force? The minimum force is F, and we are considering it across the filleted region. So, the distance that we are supposed to consider is 125, not from the fixed end that is having a value of 150, because the failure of this particular machine member is likely to occur at the filleted region itself. So, the minimum bending moment will be the minimum load into its perpendicular distance. What is the minimum load? The minimum load is minus F into its perpendicular distance of 125. So, the minimum perpendicular distance is 125. So, the bending moment minimum is minus 125 F. Similarly, I can calculate the maximum bending moment. So, the maximum bending moment across the fillet, because that is where the failure is likely to occur. So, bending moment maximum is equals to load into perpendicular distance will give us the value of bending moment. What is the load? The load is plus 3F into its perpendicular distance is 125. So, it is 3F into 125. So, what is 3F gives us the value of? It is 375F. 375F is the maximum bending moment. We have identified the bending moment that is occurring at the filleted region, where that is the value is varying from minus 125F to 375F. We are supposed to identify the value of F. Now, let us consider the design equation for this particular condition. What is the design equation? There are different type of equations that we are supposed to use when it is subjected for the fatigue load. Which are all the equations? The Soderberg equation, the Goodman equation. Out of those two, which is the preferred one? That depends upon the type of the material they have given. Here, they have given the material to be of steel. So, for the given material, that is for the steel, the design equation that we are supposed to use is of Soderberg ductile equation. Even the Soderberg brittle equation is also there, or it is when it is subjected for shear also there is there. But in this particular problem, we are supposed to consider the Soderberg design equation for the ductile material. So, let us write that. So, based on the given material, based on the type of the material given, based on the type of the material given, the design equation to be used is Soderberg Soderberg equation that states, if you remember the Soderberg equation, it is given by KTF into sigma A divided by ABC into sigma endurance plus sigma m divided by sigma y is equals to 1 over n, and this is available in the data handbook in the equation 2.21c page number 25, in the equation page number 25. Now, looking at the equation, which are all the terms that are present? One, the KTF. We know the equation to calculate the KTF, which is given by KTF is equals to 1 plus Q of KT minus 1, where K is the North sensitivity index, KT is the theoretical stress concentration factor. Then we have an sigma A, which indicates as the amplitude stress. Sigma m will indicate as the mean stress. N will indicate as the factor of safety. Sigma y will indicate as the yield stress. Sigma En will indicate as the endurance strength of a given material. And the factors affecting this endurance are A, B, C, that is size, load and the surface correction factors. So, we are supposed to identify each and every one individually, then substitute in the equation and determine the given unknown, which is the maximum load, that is F basically. So, to begin with, let us try to identify the mean and the amplitude stress, because we already know the value of sigma y given in the problem, which is of 470 megapascal. We also know the factor of safety, which is having a value of 2 specified in the problem itself. Similarly, they have also given us the value of sigma endurance, which is having a value of 275 megapascal. Now, let us try to calculate the unknowns, which are mean, amplitude, the KTF and the ABC parameters. First, we are supposed to calculate the mean and the amplitude stress. What is the mean stress? The mean stress is an average of minimum and the maximum stress. So, the mean is an average of minimum and the maximum stress. What is an amplitude stress? It is 1/2 of the range of stress, or sigma max minus sigma minimum divided by 2 will give us the value of the amplitude stress. But in order to calculate this mean and amplitude, first we are supposed to calculate the minimum and the maximum stress based on the type of the load. Here they have given us the bending moment. So, what is the type of stress that we might expect? We are going to obtain the bending stress. We are going to obtain the bending stress. How to calculate that bending stress? Let us see that. The first one is the minimum bending stress. Minimum bending stress, which is denoted by sigma B, will give us the bending stress. It is minimum. So, minimum. In general, we know that bending stress is given by m divided by I, where I is called the moment of inertia that depends upon the type of cross section that we are going to consider. Here the given, it is an circular cross section, they have mentioned in the problem itself. So, I value for a circular cross section is given by pi d cube by 32. What is the bending moment? The bending moment is the minimum bending moment that we have already calculated, where the value is minus 125 F. I can easily substitute and calculate the value. So, the bending moment is the minimum bending moment. I is pi into d cube divided by 32. For the circular cross section, the moment of inertia value is that much. Now, what is this d? It is the diameter, where we are considering the region here, the filleted region. So, the diameter is 13 and the bending moment is minus 125 F. Substitute that. So, minus 125 F divided by pi into 13 cube divided by 32. If I resolve this, if I solve that, I am going to obtain the minimum bending stress. The minimum bending stress, which is having a value of minus 0.579 times of F. I am going to obtain the value of the minimum bending stress, which is minus 0.79 F. Similarly, I am supposed to calculate the maximum bending stress. Maximum bending stress, that is denoted by sigma B will indicate the bending stress. Since it is maximum bending stress. Again, we know the expression, it is given by m divided by I, where m will be the maximum bending moment, I will be pi by 32 into d cube. Pi by 32 into d cube. Do we know the maximum bending stress value? Yes, we know the value is 375 F. So substitute the value of the maximum bending moment, it is plus value. So 375 F divided by pi by 32 into, what is the diameter value? It is 13 cube. It is 13 cube. So if I solve this 375 F into 32 divided by pi into 13 cube, I am going to obtain the maximum stress value which is having a value of 1.738 F. 1.738 F. Now I obtained the minimum and the maximum stress value, but what I want is mean and the amplitude stress. So let us try to calculate that mean and amplitude stress. So first let us calculate the mean stress itself. So the mean stress which is denoted by sigma m. Mean stress is denoted by sigma m is equals to sigma b maximum plus sigma b minimum divided by 2. Do we know the maximum stress value? We have calculated. We know the minimum stress value? We have calculated. Just substitute those two values. So sigma b maximum is 1.738 F minus, because plus of minus will give us the value of minus. So it is 0.579 F divided by 2. So the value of the mean stress that we are going to obtain is 0.579 F. So we are going to obtain the value of the mean stress to be of 0.579 F. Similarly, I am supposed to calculate the amplitude stress. So the amplitude stress that is denoted by sigma A. Sigma A is equals to sigma B max minus sigma B minimum divided by 2, half of range of stress. So if I substitute the value of maximum and the minimum stress, what is the maximum stress value? 1.738 F, and the minimum stress value is minus 0.79 F. Minus of minus will become plus. So plus 0.579 F divided by 2 is equals to, we are going to obtain the amplitude stress. If I solve that, it is 1.159 F. It is going to obtain the value of 1.159 F. So in the problem, we have identified the value of the mean stress as well as the amplitude stress. The mean stress value is minus 0.79 and the amplitude stress value is 1.159 F. Now what is the next parameter we are supposed to identify? We are supposed to calculate the value of KTF. So we know that the KTF value, to find KTF, so the KTF in general, it is given by 1 plus Q of KT minus 1. So we know this expression, it is given by KTF is equals to 1 plus Q of KT minus 1. Here we are supposed to calculate the value of KT and then substitute in order to obtain the value of KTF. How to find out the value of KT? So to find KT, to find Kt. So what is the thing that we are supposed to do? We are supposed to look into the sketch in order to calculate the theoretical stress concentration, that is Kt value. So which is the figure that this resembles? Remember the type of material they have given and the type of the condition they have given. Here it is an stepped bar which is subjected for a bending load. So in our data handbook, if you refer the page number 45, under figure 2.25, it states that a stepped shaft which is subjected for the bending moment. A stepped shaft which is subjected for the bending moment. Now, if you refer that particular figure, we have two things to note down. What are the two things? We should calculate the value of D by D ratio. We should also calculate the values of R by D ratio. So, if I look into that figure, that is from figure 2.25, under page number 45, to find this value of Kt, I want two different values. Which are those two values? I want something called as R by D ratio. What is this R by D ratio? So the R by D ratio is, what is R? R3, so it is 3 millimeter. What is the diameter? It is 13. So R is 3 divided by 13. Next, we should also note down the value of D by D ratio. What is the capital D? D by D. Capital D is 20 and the small d is 13. So the D by D ratio, capital D is 20, small d is 13. Using these two data, I can calculate the value of Kt. The R by D ratio, that is 3 by 13, will give us the value of 0.23. Similarly, 20 by 13, that is D by D ratio, gives us the value of 1.53. Now, if you refer the figure goes like this. We have x-axis which is having R by D ratio. The values varies from 0, 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, 0.3, it goes up to like this, and we have a different curves where we are supposed to follow the ratio of D by D. Now, identify the R by D ratio value of 0.23. Exactly we might not have for 0.23, it will be between 0.2 and 0.25. So, I try to identify that value, that is for 0.23, R by D ratio it has 0.23, and identify the corresponding curve of D by D ratio which is 1.53. Now, coincide this or draw a vertical line from the R by D ratio until it touches the curve of D by D ratio. So 0.23 in the x-axis, we have identified the curve of having a ratio of D by D to be of 1.53. Draw a vertical line until this R by D ratio coincides with that particular curve. Now, if you draw an horizontal line from that particular point where they are coinciding, the value that we are going to obtain is the stress concentration value, that is the Kt value. The theoretical stress concentration is given in the y-axis. So, from this particular figure, for the R by D ratio of 0.23 and D by D ratio of 1.53, the Kt value that we have obtained is 1.38. The Kt value that we have obtained is 1.38. So, write down that value, Kt is equals to 1.38. Now, I am supposed to note down the other value which is Q, that is Notch sensitivity index. Have they specified in the problem anywhere about the Q value? No, they have not given the value with respect to the Q. In these conditions, For there are different type of material that based on which the Q value can be obtained. For here they are specifically given the material is of cold drawn carbon steel. For that we are not going to obtain the Q value. In those conditions we can assume the value of Q to be of 1. We can assume the value of Q to be of 1. If not, you can go for page number 48 in the data handbook. There you can just see the material for the corresponding radius of fillet radius or the nose radius. We are going to obtain the value of Q. But most of the time the value becomes saturated, that is beyond 0.9 to 1. So, I am going to assume the value to be of 1. Now, I know the values of Q and KT where I can easily calculate the value of KTF. So, therefore, KTF is equals to 1 plus Q of KT minus 1, where 1 plus Q value is 1, KT value is 1.38 minus 1. So, the KTF value we are going to obtain, it is 1.38. We are going to obtain the KTF value to be of 1.38. So, in the equation, that is in the design equation, we have also calculated the value of KTF, that is to be of 1.38. Now, the only thing that is left out is the correction factors, that is A, B and C. So, the correction factors, the load correction factor, first one, that is A, the load correction factor A. If you go for the page number 25, there we are going to obtain the values for A, B and C. Here A depends upon the type of load that is acting on the member, whether it is an axial load, whether it is a torsional load, whether it is a bending load. For the given member, the type of load that is acting is an bending load, that is for complete reverse bending. The value of A, that is the load correction factor, is 1. Similarly, the size correction factor, that is B, we are going to assume the value, it is of 0.8. The surface correction factor, C, I am going to assume the value to be of 0.8. You can assume in between 0.8 to 1. I am going to assume the value to be of 0.8. So, now if I look into the equation, I know what is A, I know what is B and I know what is C. I can substitute all the values in the Soderberg equation and then calculate the unknown, which is basically F. Now, so let us substitute the values and see what is the KTF value. The KTF value that we have obtained is 1.38. The KTF value that we have obtained is 1.38. Substituting all the values in design equation. All the values in the design equation. So, it is KTF value, first it is 1.38, it is 1.38 into what is sigma A value? The sigma A value that we have obtained is 1.159 F divided by what are A, B, C value? A value is 1, B value is 0.8, C value is 0.8 and sigma endurance value that has been given in the problem, that is 275 megapascal. So, the value that they have obtained is 275 megapascal plus sigma M value. What is the mean stress value? Mean stress value we have calculated, which is given by 0.579. So, it is 0.579 F divided by sigma y value. Sigma y value has been given in the problem, which is of 470 megapascal, which is of 470 megapascal is equals to 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2. What is that n? N value is 2, that has been given in the problem. That is the factor of safety. Now, if you look into this particular equation, we can, the only unknown that is present is f. The only unknown that is present is f. I can easily solve this equation with the help of my calculator. So, resolving this and then calculating the value of f, if I solve this problem, I am going to obtain if I solve this equation, I am going to obtain the value of f, and the value of f that is obtained. So, therefore, the load f is equals to, after solving this equation, I am going to obtain the value of 48.44 Newton. So, this is the load f value that is obtained after solving the equation. But what is the thing they have asked us to calculate? They have asked us to calculate the maximum load that is acting on the machine member. Is this the maximum load? No, it is the minimum load that is acting on the member, that is minus f. What is the maximum load? The maximum load is 3f. The maximum load that is acting on the member is 3f. So, just multiply the value into 3 times, we are going to obtain the maximum load. The maximum load will be equals to 3 times of f. So, 3 times of 48.44. Therefore, the maximum load that is acting on the machine member, that is 3f, is equals to 145.32 Newton. 145.32 Newton. So, this is the maximum amount of load that is acting on the given member. So, in this particular problem, we have understood how to analyze the condition in the given problem and what are the parameters that we are supposed to calculate. This particular question is very important from the examination point of view. They might change the values in between the 120, the distance they might change, and even the diameters they can change, but the adopting of the same procedure to be carried out for all the type of problem. These are all the conditions in which the cantilever conditions. Similarly, the problem could be given with respect to a simply supported beam, where the load might vary similarly between 3 to 4F or from W to 3W. Similarly, the conditions might vary. So, looking into the type of problem they have given, try to identify the load, that is the bending load or the axial load or the torsion load, then continue with the procedure and then arrive at the given parameter. So, in this session, let us conclude with respect to the problems on simple fatigue load conditions. Thank you.